How do, Sue?
Hi, Alan.
Are you all right?
Yes, thank you. How are you?
I'm all right. I'm always all right. No, I don't know why anyone asks. I'm always all right. It's so boring.
Well, we've got to say that to you, haven't we?
I suppose so. You have to charm me, dear, because I'm such a charmer myself. Anyway, what can we diddle you for?
Can you sing your little song, Alan?
Oh, yes.
Thank
of course
you.
you can.
Right. Now, you'll have to excuse the voice.
Well, not much point being a singer if you can hear a voice, love. Anyway, go on. I'll count to 3, and then in you go. You ready?
Yeah.
1, 2, 3.
Alan, you've got to let it happen. They think you're smart, and we think you're smart as well. When you tell all the world what you really know, get rid of the bad guys, the ones that pick up all the stupid ideas, the ones that have no brains at all. You never invited them in. So we love your program, Allan Beswick. So please now, please never leave us all through the long day. We wait for night time to listen to you. So never leave us. How do you like that?
It were all right.
Was that good? Does it deserve a bunch of flowers, do you think, Alan?
Oh, no, not a bunch of flowers. No, I can't run to a bunch of flowers. Pauper's Week.
Oh.
It's the end of the month, woman.
Well, I'll have to ring again.
All right, then. Ta-ra.
Okay, thanks for talking to you. Bye.
Bye-bye. How do, Gloria?
Hi, I've been dying to get on your program. I've been ringing you for ages. But what I want to do is, I've got a slight correction. I hope you don't mind.
Well, I'm not remember what the mistake was.
When you were talking
Been so long.
Well, it was last week, actually, but you were talking to the Masons, and you said that in Israel they speak Yiddish, but they don't. They speak Hebrew.
That's true.
So I just thought, well, it was something to get on your programme for. I do enjoy your programme, but must you be so mean to people?
I'm not mean to them all. Anyway, they obviously like it. They're prepared to take the chance.
Oh, no. But,
Well, you come on. You could have got a marlin.
Oh, no, but I mean, you know, but I mean, you chop them off and you say cretins and all things like that. I hope you're not going to do that to me.
Not if you hurry up and shut up.
Oh, go on.
Ta-da.
Okay, bye.
Bye-bye. How do, Maria?
Hello.
Hello.
I'd like to talk about, after having a baby, why have they not brought something out if you don't wish to breastfeed to make your milk go away?
Because it wouldn't be particularly natural. And it would have to do all kinds of... I mean, your body, just after you've had a baby... And I don't mean this in the physical sense, that it doesn't look very sightly, because it doesn't really matter that. But your body, in terms of the hormones, is an absolute mess. And they don't want to start mulling about with it. You've already got people suffering from what we can describe as postnatal depression. And they don't want to start putting poisons in, because that's what drugs are, poisons. Putting poisons into your body just to do that. So that's point one. The next one is, what's wrong with breastfeeding anyway?
Well, some people can't.
Them as can't, usually can't because either the nipple isn't right or they haven't got the ability to make the milk or sufficient. Well, if they're not making enough milk, the problem doesn't exist. And if they are such that they're making the milk and the nipple isn't right, then they do actually have some drugs that they can use, if my information serves me correctly, but they're reluctant to use them.
Well, they just wouldn't give you anything. They think, well, if you don't want to wish to breastfeed, you have to suffer with the pain.
If you don't want to, that's your problem. And basically what the medical profession is doing, if you like, is putting pressure on you to do what's best for baby. However, if you cannot, and you're actually still producing the milk, and you're not able to get rid of it, there are steps they can take.
Well, they wouldn't offer me any, and I've had 2 children, and the pain is worse than actually having the baby.
Well, I don't know. Having never experienced either, I can't get into such a debate with any authority. No. But what I can say is that if it was your decision not to feed, rather than the decision...
Well, it was both.
Explain.
Oh,
well, you don't have to if you don't want. It's a personal matter.
Yeah,
that's fair enough. Okay, well, we won't go into that. All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Cheers. How do, Neil?
Hold on. I think you weren't very fair to call Boris Becker a stupid crate or whatever you called him.
Can't remember what I called him now, but he is a kraut, isn't he?
Yeah, but...
Well, what's wrong with that?
World, isn't he?
Well, it doesn't seem like it. If some no-mark can give him a stuffing.
Yeah, but everyone has a bad day.
Well, all right, his ideas. I'm just glad he's out. He's a pretentious little kraut.
He's good, though.
Well, he may be good, but he's still a pretentious little kraut.
Why?
I don't know why he is, because he was born in Germany. He can't help being a kraut, he was just born there.
Well, that's prejudice, isn't it?
No, it's just a title.
Why?
Why what?
Well, it's supposed to be prejudice because you got something against krauts.
I've got nothing against him.
Oh, why are you calling them?
I'm not calling them, I just said he was a kraut. It's just a colloquial expression for German, like people call us limeys or pommies. I don't mind if I get called a pommy. It's better than being called a kraut. What?
He's still best at world.
Well, he may well be the best in the world. All them that get knocked out in the first round must be the best in the world then, eh? Eh? Second round. Oh, well, in that case, I take it all back. If you get to the second round, you're the best in the world. One wonders who the winner is.
No.
What makes him the winner?
Oh, if he wins.
That's right. So what makes him the best in the world?
If he keeps winning.
Well, he hasn't won.
Oh.
He's just had a stuffing in the second round by some guy with one leg and no sight. Get off. How do? Andrew.
Oh, Alan.
Yes.
I'd like to talk about proportional representation, if I may.
Then do so.
In the last election, the present government polled about 40% of the vote of those that bothered to turn up. And I don't think it's fair that they get such a massive majority of over 100 seats in the House of Commons as a result.
That it?
Well, not only that, I mean, by having such an unfair system...
What do you offer as an alternative?
Where instead of having these fixed constituencies...
No, we don't want to know what you don't want. Tell us what you do want.
Instead of, having a selection on the voting paper where you put candidates in order of preference rather than just a straight choice.
But how do you divide the constituencies up? How do you divide the MPs up? How do you allocate the seats?
You just make the constituencies, say, 5 times as large as they are now, and allocate 5 MPs to that constituency. Then...
But what about the guy who only pulls 1%? He's not going to have a constituency, is he? Ain't going to be enough. He's certainly not going to pull 1%, isn't going to get him a seat in the constituency, or the 5 times larger constituency, 5 times larger than exists now. If he only pulls 1%, he's not going to get a seat, but he's entitled to it. If he's got 1% of the vote, he's entitled to a seat. So we're going to have 100 MPs in every constituency.
Oh, that's kind of things to extremes, isn't it?
Well, if you want it fair, then it's got to be fair. It's either fair or it's not fair. At the moment it's not fair, you want to make it not fair. What's the point? You might as well make it fair. You don't want to make it fair. You just want to make it, by your definition, a bit fair. That's not enough. If you want it right, go for broke. It's very nearly news time, so get lost. News is with us now.
The 11 o'clock news, this is Alan King. 3 children in the Teesside sex abuse row tonight being stopped from going home to their parents, despite a court ruling that they could. Magistrates have decided the 2 girls and their brother could be released from council care because the allegations that they'd been sexually abused were not strong enough. But late tonight, social service chiefs took legal action and blocked the family reunion between the children and their parents. The move came as the senior police surgeon in Cleveland made an astonishing attack on the hospital consultant who's been accusing parents of sexual abuse. Dr. Alistair Irvin says the consultant, Dr. Marietta Higgs, is pointing the finger at innocent people.
I have been involved over the last 3 months at all levels, trying to persuade Dr. Higgs of her errors, but she is unmoved. She has not been very polite, and I don't believe she's behaved in a very professional way towards us. She's not been prepared to listen. She's running a closed shop, and she's making significant diagnostic mistakes. Innocent parents and non-abused children are being diagnosed as abused or abusers.
The Liberals are to urge the SDP to hold a joint ballot of their members on the future of the alliance. Liberal leader David Steele insists the only future is total merger. He says any half-baked compromises would be doomed to failure, but Mr. Steele insists he's not pushing himself forward as leader of the new party.
let's for heaven's sake keep the personalities out of it at the moment and concentrate on getting the institutions right. The mood of our meeting was that they want to respond to the clear desire of the 7 million people who voted for us, and perhaps even more who didn't vote for us, that we should now get this together in one really effective union.
Scotland Yard have confirmed tonight that they're investigating a massive fraud involving phony mortgages. It's understood 10 different cases are being looked at, involving up to £50 million. More than 1,000 properties are being investigated. It's believed the main fiddles have involved mortgaging the same properties several times. The investigation follows a similar one in Bristol. An Old Bailey judge has taken pity on a young couple who swindled a bank out of £64,000. After hearing that they did it because they couldn't afford to buy a home, the judge imposed suspended prison sentences and then wished them good luck. Tim Crook reports.
The court heard that, like so many young couples in the southeast, the cost of home ownership was beyond their reach, even though their combined income entitled them to a £30,000 mortgage, which could not even buy them a bedsit. A defence lawyer said all Helen Flint and John Hancock wanted to do was to build a home and have a happy family. Hancock swindled the bank where he worked, but they were both haunted by guilt, and Judge Dennison said, "The agony of mind you brought on yourselves far exceeds anything I can impose on you." They walked free, cuddling each other. Tim Crook, IRN, the Old Bailey.
3 soldiers have been slightly injured in a mortar attack on a West Belfast police station. At least 2 mortars were fired at the base and several nearby houses had to be evacuated. The IRA say they carried out the attack. Independent Radio News.
Backpackers and walkers heading for the great outdoors, stop first at the great indoors of the Blackburn Camping Centre. No one has a range of specialist outdoor equipment and clothing quite like it. All the leading brands, including rich tents from Bango and Ultimate, Caramore rucksacks, sprayway and mounted equipment clothing, boots, sleeping bags and a host of accessories. You won't find a better selection for miles. So find the Blackburn Camping Centre, King Street, Blackburn. Phone 661 650.
Before you get to the great outdoors, get to the Blackburn Camping Centre.
More super deals from Bradshaw's. 86 Sierra 2-litre GL, Regency Red, radio cassette, 5-speed gearbox. 85 Astra GTE, white. 86 Sierra 2-litre I gear estate, diamond white, PAS, electronic stereo radio cassette, very low mileage. 87 Sierra 1600L, new shape, Rosso red, grey trim, 5-speed, stereo radio cassette, very low mileage. 87 Fiesta 1.4S, white, radio cassette, 5-speed gearbox, 2,186 miles. 87 Orion 1600L, Rosso red, 5-speed gearbox, radio cassette, low mileage. 85 Cavalier 1600L, 4-door, brown cloth trim, 5-speed, Philips stereo radio cassette, 15,800 miles only. More super deals from Bradshaw's, Marsh Lane, Preston. Phone 54083.
You're better off at Bradshaw's.
Ring him if you dare.
Allan Beswick, the late night show.
We're into the second hour. It's 5 minutes past 11, and the telephone number, if you wish to join us, is Preston 56 1000. Hello, Paul.
Hello, Alan. I think the Tennis Association should be ashamed with themselves. When Wimbledon started this week, it got rained off for the first day, and none of the people who bought tickets got the cost reimbursed. I think that's terrible.
If they buy their tickets on that condition, why is it terrible?
Well, if you look at any other sport,
we're not looking at any. We're not looking at any other sport.
Well, why should tennis be different?
Because if that is the rules under which they sell the tickets, then so be it.
Rules are there to be broken.
Not by the ones that make them. Not if they're going to cost you money. If the individuals who bought the tickets were stupid enough to buy a ticket in the knowledge that if they didn't watch any tennis, they would not get their money back, then tough on them.
No, it's not tough on them.
If it's not tough, why are you complaining?
It is tough. It's
a moment ago it wasn't tough, now it is tough. You're a gibbering ape, man.
You have been Beswicked.
Only the rich go to tennis anyway. Caviar, champagne and strawberries. Who gives a stuff if they lose a few quid? How do, Sam?
Hello, Alan.
Yes.
I've got a bit of problem here. Can you, or if you can help me?
We'll have to know what it is first.
Well, I
won't
was involved in an accident a couple of months ago, and that's the garage to tow the car in for me and give me an estimate, which I did do. Hello? Hello? Alan?
Yes, we've done all that. What do
Yeah.
you want?
Well, what it is, the car been vandalised while it's been at the garage. Who was responsible for it?
The garage.
Are they?
Well, of course they are.
Oh.
They're supposed to look after it.
Yeah. Well, you see, I approached him and said, what happened to the car? I said, it's been vandalised. I said, who done it? He said, well, he doesn't know. And where do I go from here?
Tell him to put it back into the condition it was before it was vandalised.
Yes.
Which, of course, means not a particularly good condition at all.
No. Oh.
Oh. How did David?
Sign outside the camper shop window. Now's a discount of our winter tents. Can say hello to Michael Kenny.
I like that one, David. How do Greg? Is Greg about to speak to us or not? Hello, Greg?
Alan?
Oh, we've got you. What do you want?
I'd like to talk about population control in Britain.
Go on.
Well, I think we should have population control in Britain.
Do you mean compulsory?
Yeah. No, it has
Yeah.
to be like that.
I'm sorry?
It has to be population control.
Yes. What I said was, do you mean compulsorily? Do you mean there should be a law about it?
Yeah.
Now, how do you think this law should take place or be implemented, or what should it say?
Should say that one couple should be allowed to have one baby between them, one child.
Well, obviously, between them. Can't do it on your own, a couple. No member of a couple can have a baby on his or her own. Has
Yeah,
to
I
be
know.
between them. That's what life is about.
Yeah, well, the point
Why
is,
only one?
why only one?
Yes. Because think about it. If two people are allowed one child, in one generation's time, the population will halve. In the next generation's time, it will be a quarter of it was 2 generations ago. In the next generation's time, it'll be an 1/8. In the next generation's time, it'll be a 16th.
Yeah, well.
Not a very good prospect for a country.
Yeah, well, if we could just have this law passed just for a time until unemployment goes down.
Why not find work for the unemployed rather than stop people having babies?
Well, all the present...
Allow me to tell you that the population of Britain is in fact receding. It is diminishing.
Yeah, I know that.
Would you want it to be diminished somewhat further?
Yeah, until...
Halved, in fact.
Until unemployment is wiped out in Britain.
Yeah. Well, it sounds rather drastic. Because if we do away with the people who are there to do the work, and remember, well, I presume you know what the population of Britain is, do you?
No, I'm not aware of it.
You're not aware of it. Well, it's around, I think, 70 million.
Yeah.
Now, there's only 4 million of those, if we accept Labour Party figures, unemployed. Not a very big percentage,
It
really.
said in the paper last week that it was under 3 million now.
Yes, not the Labour Party didn't. That's what the government says.
Yeah.
I said if we accept the Labour Party's figure of 4 million,
Well, which one's right?
well, there's probably something between the two of them that's correct. But we have to have a figure, and I thought we'd pick the highest figure claimed so that we could deal with it in its worst scenario.
Okay.
Okay. So we get 4 million unemployed. If the current generation of, should we say, fertile couples is limited to one child, that's those who are starting now. Of course, we couldn't implement the law for 9 months, could we? It'd be a little unfair. It would cause a problem. What do we do about twins? Do we kill one of them?
No, that would be acceptable, that.
That'd be acceptable. That's okay, is it?
Yeah.
Of course, people that wanted large families would then be taking fertility drugs, although they're already fertile.
Yeah?
That would be acceptable to you.
Yeah,
We'd end up with everybody with one family, except about every 9th family would have about 11 kids, but they had them all at once, rather like a puppy.
We'd have to wait until the 4 million unemployed. That's been dropped drastically.
Wouldn't it be rather more sensible just to find work for the 4 million?
Well, the government's tried that, haven't they?
No, it hasn't really. It hasn't made any realistic attempt at all. Even the government doesn't claim that it's made much of an attempt in the short term. It says that its strategy in the long term will bring down unemployment, but it doesn't claim it's...
How long have they been saying this one, either?
Well, this government has been saying it for about a week. The predecessor said it for 4 years, and the one before that said it for 4. It so happens they were all the same political persuasion and had the same leader, so we could consolidate it and say 9 years. I'm sorry?
We've got the same leader now.
Indeed we have.
So what difference is it going to make now? Is she going to change after
I would
8 years?
say that she's not going to change after 9 years. She didn't change after 8. I would say no, she's not going to change at all. But she's going to continue on her policy of creating the financial circumstances whereby unemployment will diminish naturally, rather than bringing in some draconian limitation of people's freedom.
Yeah. Yeah, but she's not done anything, though, yet, has she not?
Well, I don't think forbidding people... I don't think forbidding people their natural function is going to be over-welcome, do you? I don't think people are going to say, yippee! Best bit of legislation I've ever had, mate! Do you?
Well,
it's what?
Measures we could take.
We could take it, yes. It would, of course, take 18 years to come to fruition.
Yeah,
well, let us hope. We're then condemning ourselves, it would seem, to unemployment of the magnitude we have already for 18 years. I'm not prepared to accept that, are you?
Yes.
You are. So you're happy with the unemployment. You're quite happy to have it that way for 18 years. You're a prat. How do... Martin.
Hello, may I read a poem?
Is it yours?
Yes.
If I suspect during the course of it that it's not, you will disappear.
It's fine. Okay. It's entitled Tribute. Okay. One man, a guitar, a true heart and a soul, for the life that he loved, playing fast rock and roll. A legend to be, left a river of tears, but his memory will live in his music for years. He fought through blizzards, filled a diary with sound. From Crowley to Madman, his future was bound. But it all came to end with his untimely death, and hearts breathed with sorrow as he drew the last breath. So what I will leave is this tribute to you, Randy, the legend the world never knew. That's it.
Pretty naff, wasn't it?
It was alright. Quick job.
It was naff.
Anything to get on the show and give you... I'll talk to you.
Well, it was still naff. How do nobody, but we will talk to Steve after this.
So there we were, browsing through the swimsuits when this gorgeous hunk came up to us. He did, He did. He said, you look like the sort of girl who's just booked her holiday with National Travel World's late booking desk, saved a fortune and got herself a microwave for only £79. So I thought to myself...
You did, Emma.
I did. I thought, how did he know? Turns out he's only a plumber from Preston and was in the queue behind me at National Travel World. But he took advantage of 10% discount on any item over £100 at Central.
He did, Emma.
He did.
If you want a last-minute bargain holiday plus a microwave for only £79, book before the 30th of June at National Travel World's late booking desk.
Why wrestle with a 23-foot crocodile while trying to drink a pint of Thwaites bitter? It's a question a lot of the regulars in here have often asked. The answer lies partly in my lifelong fascination with reptiles and amphibians, but it's also because I like a pint with a bitter snap.
Thwaites bitter, when you know what's what.
This is it, the best place to go. The Coach House Diner is the one you'll want to know, yeah, this is it.
Now the people who brought you Blackpool's famous seafood restaurant bring the Coach House Diner to Lytham, specialising in family meals with an exciting menu, offering the widest selection in the area. A family restaurant with family prices. The Coach House Diner, opposite the Green on Henry Street, Lytham.
Coach House Diner, this is it.
It's the time that you take. It's a coat, it's a break, it's a pause in the beat, a cool from the heat. Ah, just what I need. It's a hit, Coca-Cola is it. It's put them on hold, that Coke is ice cold. It's let the train wait, don't care if I'm late. It's just how you feel, it's the break that's for real. It's a kick, it's a hit, it's a Coke. It's a kick, it's a hit, it's a Coke. Coca-Cola is it.
Hello, Steve.
Hello, Alan.
Do you know, last night I was ringing your radio programme, and I kept ringing and the lines was engaged, and every time I pressed the black buttons, I kept pressing them.
What black buttons?
You know, the black buttons on top of the telephone.
Ours haven't got any black buttons on.
Well, I don't care. Ours have. Well, anyway, I kept pressing them, right? And after a while, I kept ringing you, right? And after a while, there was no dialing tone. Just disappeared. So I'm ringing for my mates now, and I'd like to know if I could claim compensation. I'd like to know how to go about it.
Who can you claim compensation of?
You.
Me?
Yeah.
What for?
Well, it's your fault, isn't it? If you wasn't, you know, putting this programme out, I wouldn't have bothered ringing you. Therefore, my phone wouldn't have got broke, would it?
Broken, surely.
Sorry?
Broken, surely.
Okay, sorry about my English. Broken.
Don't be sorry about being English. It's one of the best things that can happen to you.
Okay, thanks.
Pleasure, madam. Well, you can sue me if you like.
Yeah. How would I go about that?
Well, I'm not hardly going to help you, am I?
Well, why not?
Why should I?
Well,
I suggest you consult the services of a barrister. You will require a solicitor, because you're not allowed to talk to the barristers direct, because you're about 180 quid, and I'll laugh me socks off when he tells you that you've not got a dog's chance. How do, Debbie?
Hello?
Hello?
Hello, Alan.
Mm.
I wonder if you could help me, right? I'm 17, and I started work in September.
You did, or you are doing?
I started work last September.
Last September, yes.
And,
Get on with it.
when I started shifts 10 weeks ago, and they said that they'd put me on shift allowance, you know, getting shifts like everybody else, 62210. Everybody else is getting shift allowance.
Listen, I'm not prepared to talk to you while somebody else is feeding you the lines. Goodbye. How do, Carl?
Hello, Alan.
Yes.
I want to agree with you about...
Then you have done. How do, Ian?
Hello, Alan.
Yes.
Can I talk about the testing cosmetics on animals?
You may.
Well, I don't think it's necessary.
That it?
No. I think they should, like, make a fluid, right? And test the cosmetic, right? In the fluid. And if it's something wrong with it, it goes like a colour.
But that won't actually be a acceptable test.
Why not?
Because it hasn't been tested on flesh.
Yeah, but, you know, it might work, mightn't it?
Well, we won't find out. We'd have to do it in the fluid, as you call it.
Yeah.
And then test it on the flesh to see whether you get the same result with the fluid.
Yeah.
So inevitably, your plan would result in yet more testing on animals.
Doubt it.
Well, of course it would.
No, it wouldn't.
We'd have to get this product, and we'd have to say, and put it into the fluid.
Yeah.
And then we'd say, right, well, that's the result we've got. Then we'd have to test it on the animal to see whether the fluid can be relied upon as a test medium.
No.
No?
You don't have to. It mightn't work like that.
What do you mean it mightn't work like that? You appear to have thought this out considerably.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
It must have taken you all of 30 seconds. How do, Tommy?
Hello, Alan. My bike was outside our house.
Motor or pedal?
Pedal. And this fella on the bike, motorbike.
Motor or pedal?
Motorbike.
Very good.
Came flying down the road. And
Flying?
Yeah.
I thought it was a motorbike, as you call it.
It is. It's one of them Angel
flies?
Angel Triumph, right? And it was...
An Angel Triumph?
Yes. And it was going
What
down
is an Angel Triumph?
to tap a motorbike.
Is it, by gum?
Yeah.
Triumph haven't been in production now for quite some time.
I know they haven't an Oldham.
An Oldham?
It doesn't matter what kind it is anyway.
Well, you told me what kind
Right.
it was. I was wondering why it was flying.
Well, that's what, because it's called an Angel Triumph, right?
I see. Well, angels don't fly.
Eh?
Grace.
They do.
They don't.
They do.
How
What do
many
they do
angels?
then? If they don't fly, what do they do?
They move about mysteriously.
What, like? How?
One knows not how.
Well, why not?
And you, for one, will never find out. How do, Rachel?
Hello.
Hello.
I'm going to tell you a joke.
Well, I won't hear it. How do, Mark? Goodbye, Mark. In a few seconds, you will hear on your radio that you've been cut off without even getting on. This is because you're a prat and you're listening on your radio instead of your phone.
The Red Rose Advertiser. It's a breakfast show, a morning market. some diary and a blast from Beswick. It's a paper that's on your wavelength. The Red Rose Advertiser. And when it comes through your front door, look inside, because all that's fit to be read is in the Red Rose Advertiser.
If you fancy a winner at Haydock Park, here's a tip you can rely on. Put your money on a Volkswagen from Rigby Turner. They'll offer you a generous part exchange allowance on your current car and always have a wide choice of new and used Volkswagens in stock. For a list of runners and their starting prices, call Rigby Turner on St Helens 26126. That's 26126. Or visit the showrooms right by the junction of the M6 and the East Lancs Road. With your money on a Volkswagen from Rigby Turner of Haydock, you're on to a certain winner.
Deal direct with Direct Windows.
Direct Windows, the best way to buy UPVC windows and doors in Lancashire. We install the superb Bowater Halo system, and all work is guaranteed and underwritten at Lloyd's of London. Buy direct, avoid the middleman, and make hard cash savings. Visit the new factory showroom 7 days a week at 64 Red Scar Estate, Longridge Road, or phone Paul Kelly on Preston 703 008.
Deal direct with Direct Windows. Direct with Direct Windows.
Hi, Mike Tunstall here with news of a great talent competition which could see you flying off to Nashville, the home of country music. Yes, Red Rose Radio, in association with Frontierland, Morecambe's Wild West theme park, are looking for the best country and western act in the county. The prize is a trip for two to Nashville, Tennessee, courtesy of Trans-America Holidays and National Travel World. Plus, 2 days recording at Avenue Parade Recording Studios of Accrington for broadcast on My Country Choice programme, and the opportunity for regular work at Frontierland. Heats are on Sunday afternoons in July and August at the Frontierland in Morecambe. Each heat winner walks away with £50 and goes through to the grand final. So let's be hearing from all you aspiring country and western stars. Send details and a demo, if possible, to me, Mike Tunstall, Red Rose Radio, P.O. Box 301, St Paul's Square in Preston. Do it now, and you could be on your way to Nashville.
How do, Brian?
How do, Al? I'd like to speak about animal cruelty, please.
Go ahead.
Well, I was on the Ford Estate in Birkenhead the other week, right?
I don't know whether it's right, and I don't want to know.
Well, anyway, I was on the Ford Estate.
Tell me about animal cruelty.
Yeah, and I was watching this cat, and it was drinking some milk, and then this fella walked over to him, and he had the can in his hand, and then he bent down and tipped something into the cat's milk, but I don't know what it was. And anyway, the cat drank the milk, and got up and started running around and smashing into all these bins and everything.
Get to the punchline. We've heard it before. Go on.
Alright. And it hit this wall and fell down. And you know what happened to it? Like,
Yeah.
ran out of petrol.
I know, yeah. Not very good, really, was it?
What?
You see, you have to say beforehand, not I don't know what it is, but I do know what it is.
Oh.
Otherwise the joke doesn't work. Go away and rehearse. How do, Stephen?
How do, Alan? How do?
We've done that.
Yeah, why don't you have an earlier show for younger people?
I've no idea. I'm not going to do them both, and I don't like talking to young people on the phone-in, so you'd have to get somebody else to do it.
I'm not a young person.
I'm sorry?
I'm not a young person.
I didn't say you were. I was telling you why I wouldn't do it. And
why?
Therefore, are you deaf or stupid? Answer the question. Are you deaf or stupid? It would seem the question is beyond you. I therefore go for stupid. How do Paul? How do Jeffrey?
Hello, Alan.
Yes.
Hi. I'm just wondering if you could help me put me in touch with that very sexy voice you had on earlier on, called Gloria. Is there any chance of doing that at all?
No, she's fussy. How do Lee? Hello, Lee?
Hello?
What do you want?
How do scientists know that it doesn't hurt the animals when they test things on them, like?
They don't know that it doesn't. They know that it does.
Well, it must do, mustn't it?
They said it does. Are you stupid as well?
No, they say it doesn't.
No, they don't.
They say, oh...
No, they don't.
Yeah, they do.
No, they don't.
They do.
They don't.
They do.
They don't.
They do.
You're an idiot. How do, Bruce?
How do, Alan?
Goodbye, Bruce. How do, Nick?
I want to talk about job creation, Alan.
What's preventing you?
Well,
when they sell off the water board, and when they sell off the water board to the public, and all the money they create from that, I think they should plough it back into a new factory.
Making what?
Making technological equipment.
Who's going to buy it?
Well, there's a big British demand, like in schools, because county councils want to buy British equipment. There's a lot of British demand from the public.
I don't know that county councils want to buy British equipment. I'm sure they would like to if it were available and good enough, but who's to say that if they make a big factory making British equipment that it will be good enough?
Well, they've got to find that out, but Oxfordshire County Council, they've ploughed all their big orders to Fidelity.
It doesn't really matter who've got their orders. The truth is that they will have gone for the best at the price they can afford.
But if we can prove to the world that our products are the best, then they'll buy them.
If we can prove it, but how do you propose proving it?
Well, if we can start it off and start a big advertising campaign, and that'll prove it.
Well, the advertising campaign won't prove anything. All that will prove is we've spent a lot of money on advertising. It doesn't prove the product.
The product will have to prove itself.
Indeed it would, but who's going to believe it? Who's going to give it the opportunity? If the marketplace cannot create the product, in other words, if ordinary run-of-the-mill, day-to-day sales and manufacture industries cannot make the product, why should the government suddenly be able to?
The government can plough them. If the government plough the money back, well, if the county councils buy the equipment,
we've got to make it first.
Making it
before the county councils can go out and buy it, somebody's got to make it.
Make it. The people make it. The factory, the company that the government will set up.
But the government is against setting up companies paid for by government. That's why it's selling off the water board.
But I'm proposing them, this is just a suggestion, I'm proposing them too.
And what is the point of privatising an industry in order to create a new nationalised industry?
But it's not going to be a nationalised industry.
You just said it was. You just said the government were going to set it up.
All right, well,
who is going to set it up?
Well, once the government sets it up and it makes sufficient profit, then they'll re-privatise.
But who's to say it will make a profit? There are companies already in existence. There's a company called ICL that received millions, if not billions, but certainly millions of pounds of government's money, and it still can't flog its computers.
Well, I go back to Fidelity, which is a...
I don't really care where you want to go to.
Which is a success, Fidelity. That's a very big success.
Fidelity's never been successful through the ages. Perhaps the company is.
Well, the company Fidelity, they're getting very successful.
They may well be, but the fact still remains that there are 35 other companies making computer and electronic equipment that is considerably better. I personally have a computer, if that's what you want to call it. It's actually designed and written as a program for a word processor that was made in Korea, I think it was.
I don't just mean computers, I mean consumer products like televisions, radios.
Well, television companies in Britain, television manufacturing companies, have gone to the wall despite massive financial input from government. One went to the wall in Skelmersdale. Thorn EMI used to make colour televisions in Skelmersdale with enormous grants from government, and they still couldn't flog the damn things. So why would they suddenly be able to now?
Well, I continue back to the marketing, like...
I don't see the point of continuing back to the marketing. The truth is, Thorn EMI spent a fortune on marketing. They still couldn't flog the tellies. How do Robert?
Good evening, Alan. I'd like to ring... I'm talking to you about the lad that was ringing before about... talking about the poem.
He didn't talk about a poem.
Yes, he did. Well, yeah, he read the poem.
So?
Yeah, well, I think the way you treated him was downright disgusting.
I'm not overbothered. I didn't like his poem. What do you want me to do? Say I did?
Well, I think you're a cretin myself.
Well, I know I am, but what do you want me to do?
And a prat.
Yes, I know, but what do you want me to do?
I'd like you to apologise on the air now.
There's no point apologising. What I said was true. I didn't like his poem. I thought it was puerile.
Well, it wasn't. He written that himself.
Well, whether he written it himself, he could even have written it from somebody else. I know not. I care not. If it was written by Byron, I don't give a monkey's cuss. It was crap.
Well, I still think you're a cretin because you've got a mouth disease.
Yes, well, can we just establish, Robert, that it doesn't bother me what you think, and I rather hoped that it wouldn't bother him what I thought. You see, I don't care if you like or not like his poem, but I'm hardly going to lie just to avoid offending the sensibilities of your good self.
Alan, I just think you've got no point living on this earth myself.
As long as it's populated by people like you, I agree.
You have been Beswicked.
Dear boy, Robert, you have a long, long way to go before you're even in the same world as your obvious master. It's 29 minutes to tomorrow.
Win £50, £20, £15 each week at the Newmarket and M2 Market, Waterloo Road, Blackpool.
If you fancy a winner at Haydock Park, here's a tip you can rely on. Put your money on a Volkswagen from Rigby Turner. They'll offer you a generous part exchange allowance on your current car and always have a wide choice of new and used Volkswagens in stock. For a list of runners and their starting prices, call Rigby Turner on St Helens 26126. That's 26126. Or visit the showrooms right by the junction of the M6 and the East Lancs Road. With your money on a Volkswagen from Rigby Turner of Haydock, you're on to a certain winner.
Emma and her little gang had been tea-partying furiously ever since breakfast. The 5 dolls, the teddy, the mouse, and the green thing with eyes were quite exhausted. Mother's suggestion that they all take a nap seemed wise indeed. So Emma made everyone lie down. She fetched a towel as a blanket and a roll of lovely soft Kleenex velvet toilet tissue as a pillow for Teddy. And as she tucked it beneath his head, she was sure she heard him say thank you.
Kleenex velvet. Softness is our strength.
So there we were, browsing through the swimsuits when this gorgeous hunk came up to us. He didn't. He did. He said, you look like the sort of girl who's just booked her holiday with National Travel World's late booking desk, saved a fortune and got herself a microwave for only £79. So I thought to myself...
You didn't.
I did. I thought, how did he know? Turns out he's only a plumber from Preston and was in the queue behind me at National Travel World. But he took advantage of 10% discount on any item over £100 at Central.
He didn't.
He did.
If you want a last-minute bargain holiday plus a microwave for only £79, book before the 30th of June at National Travel World's late booking desk.
How do, Martin?
Good evening, Alan. This is your personal poet with 2 limericks for you, unlike the other Martin. A presenter from Preston one day found Scousers had got in his way. Each time that they called, "Get off, cretin," he bawled. Now none of them's getting their say. Young Al at Red Rose Radio, like the Vicar of Bray, don't you know, can twist like an eel, yet stay on level keel, while his listeners are tongue-tied and slow. Right? Does that make up for the other one?
Not quite.
Not quite, but
It'd take a great deal to make up for the dross we had before, but go on.
Well, that was 2 of them. I mean, I can find you half a dozen more, but I won't bother because you want other people to talk.
Well, perhaps don't want them to, but I'm paid to put up with them doing. All right, thank you, Martin.
Right,
How do, Mark?
Hello, Alan. I'd like to talk about Mrs Thatcher, please.
Then talk.
I think that she's done a great job for this country, and I don't like the way that the press and other people slag her off, saying that she's making this country go downhill all the way.
I'm interested that you say the press and other people. I'm not sure which other people you mean, but let's stick to the press. Let's stick to the press for the moment.
Okay.
The press is in its majority in support of Mrs Thatcher, the vast majority of the press. There are a few isolated newspapers that are not.
Well, I won't mention the actual name, but there was a few dailies that we get.
Well, tell us them. We're not bothered.
All right, the Daily Mirror and the
Daily Mirror.
Mail.
The Daily Mail is a Mrs Thatcher look-alike.
Well, the ones we got that week were all about Labour.
Well, if they've only been about Labour, and I can't think the Daily Mail, I've heard it called many things, I've never heard it called a left-wing rag before. The Daily Mirror, yes. The Daily Mail, clearly no. And if we add to the Daily Mail the Daily Star, the Times, the Telegraph, how many more newspapers do you want on her side? The Guardian's a ginner, the Mirror's a ginner. The Independent, I hope and think, is independent. The rest of them are on Thatcher's side.
Yeah,
so I don't think you can criticise the press for their biased view against her. You may find enough material to find criticism, valid criticism for their biased view in favour of her. However, go on, tell me what she's done that you're so overjoyed with.
For the start, the YTS, people seem to call that a lot, but I can't see what's wrong with it. You're getting trained for something and you're getting paid as well.
Tell me what you're getting trained for. What are you going to do after this training? Because there ain't no work, that's why the YTS is there.
But they promise you, you only hear the bad side of the YTS, you never seem to hear the good side.
Let's not worry about sides, Mark. Tell me what you're getting trained for. That was the question.
Well, it ranges, there's a massive variety.
Well, yes, I know, but what for? There are no jobs, Mark. There aren't any jobs. You see, when I left school, people went into training. All the people in our class went into one form of training or another. I went into training as an electrician. It was called apprenticeship. Lots and lots of other people went into it. Our next door neighbour, Keith Webster, went into training as a gas fitter. Alan O'Brien went into training as an electrician. We can go all the way through the school with the people... But the fact still remains that we were in training. Now you don't do that. You get sent to some factory for a handful of washers a week, and you call it training. At the end of it, there's no job. I had a job at the end of mine, except I got sacked for being a loony, but the fact still remains there was a job there. So go on, tell us something good.
Something you've agreed and said on before, that there's a lot of jobs around, it's just that half of the people on the dole can't be bothered getting off the backside.
Excuse me, Mark, I don't recall ever saying that. Ever.
I thought you said that in
I don't really care what you think, Mark. I cannot remember once saying that. Ever. Because I don't believe it to be true.
But she's cut unemployment, as the figures say, that she's...
Tell me she's cut
$3
unemployment.
million.
I see. Tell me about her cutting unemployment. When she came into office 9 years ago, what was unemployment? What was the figure?
I don't know, sir.
Yeah, how do you know she's cut it then?
It's in all the press at the moment.
No, it isn't.
Local pay is being cut by, it's just about under 3 million.
Oh, I see. So what is that? What an interesting concept. So if somebody comes along, just perchance, I'm not suggesting this is the case, but if somebody comes along and takes over power, and unemployment is 1 million, and then it goes up to 4 million, and then they adjust the figures and it comes down to 3 3/4 million.
Yeah.
And then they adjust the figures and it comes down to 3.5. And then they adjust the figures and it comes down to 2 3/4. And then they adjust the figures and it comes down to 3. Whilst 1 million of those people in those figure adjustments are actually getting a handful of washers for learning nothing to do a job that isn't there. That's called reducing unemployment, is it?
She's done a better job than Kinnock could have done, I think.
Well, you do not know that. I'm sorry. You can make that as an assessment. You can make that as a value judgment, but you can't establish it as a fact. What you can do is you can examine the statement you have made that she has reduced unemployment. Over a period of a few months, it has reduced, certainly. But we have to, in order to establish whether Mrs. Thatcher has reduced it or whether her government and her policies have reduced it, we have to establish what the figure was before she came to office or at the time she came to office. And let me tell you...